heute bin ich wieder. Also ich habe vorhin gesagt, ich mache weiter, das tue ich auch nicht. Ich mache eine higurashi Play weiter. Aber was ich euch mal sagen wollte, sind ein paar Sachen, die ich noch nie erwähnt habe, wirklich richtig. Also erst habe ich diesen Herbst meinen allerwichtigsten Schatz, meinen Kater, vor 6 Jahren verloren. Also diesen Herbst ist das 6. Jahr. Und als ob das nicht schon schlimm genug war, habe ich dann letztes Jahr meine Mutter auch noch verloren. Also sorry, dass ich vielleicht depressiv wirke, aber das ist der Grund dafür. Dazu kommt auch, ich cosplay schon seitdem ich ein kleines Kind war. Und trotzdem hat sich nie jemand wirklich für mich interessiert, obwohl ich nicht gerade scheiße aussehe und nicht nur scheiße Cosplay, ganz im Gegenteil. Früher war ich dafür fast feiert wie ein Star. Heute interessiert das keine Sau mehr, weil keiner auf Conventions und Communities geht, ne? Aber ich bin sowieso einfach nur noch, ja, depressiv, sag ich mal dazu jetzt. Was soll man dazu sonst sagen? Ich sehe halt keinen Sinn in irgendwas. Ich mache trotzdem weiter, weil ich das meinem Manager versprochen habe. Deswegen mache ich weiter. Okay, jetzt spiele ich higurashi weiter und sorry für den Rant, aber das musste mal sein. Moment. So, jetzt. Nö, das sollte da eigentlich nicht sein. Das soll das sein, ja. Perfekt. So. Okay, weiter geht's. I remember seeing the metal bed in the gym, the storage sheet, but there was a padlock on the door bearing my entry. Alright, I think I need to change the sound second, please. Nervt. I hope it's better now. No, a second. Here, the sun is still on the wrong side. Now, finally. At the very least, I wanted to get my hands on it before everyone else arrived at school. ... I circled around the school grounds impatiently. But all I could find were things like pieces of lumber, nothing that I could bring into the classroom easily. Then ... had an epiphany. Then that I leave just before, I should search inside the classroom. If it was something in the classroom to begin with, then there wouldn't be a problem. I could say that everyone indoors shoots were still in their lockers. Good thing I came early, nobody else was here. I wondered what could I find in the classroom. I didn't think I could find an especially effective weapon like a bat. But it couldn't be helped at this point. Until the game storage sheet was open, I needed to find a substate. An entering hint of naivety whispered that there was no way I'd be attacked at school. But such a soft idea would no longer protect me. To think that they were slowly making their way into parts of my life that I had once thought impenetrably. Impenetrable, yes. In the worst case, my own house might not be safe anymore. That was an incredible, frightening thought. But I believe that not considering the worst case scenario would have been even more frightening. Anyways, I will survive. So long as I lived, then I will definitely be able to escape this labyrinth of nonsense. Definitely. My exploration of the classroom came to an impasse. That much was to be expected. There was no way there would be anything that could be a weapon in the classroom. In case of emergency, there was probably nothing I could do but swing my own chair around. My guess ready on the lockers that had come to be used for personal storage. The locker that Neon used to store her pile of games was among them. There was one for each person in the class, all lined up. Of course, there was one for me as well. Oh yeah, there was supposed to still be a tracksuit in my locker. That seeing me covered in mud would be strange. I should go change later. But first I need a weapon. If one of my classmates came, it would be hard to rummage through all the lockers. I swiftly began opening the lockers one by one. They were mostly just filled with things like gym clothes, personal items, and umbrellas. An umbrella? If I couldn't find anything better, then this would have to be my weapon. Yeah, of course, because we're in Dead Rising now. I was about to give up on fighting anything decent when I opened the locker that hid exactly what I wanted. It was rather a metal bed. It was well worn and pretty beaten up, but there was no doubt it was usable. In that locker that reeked of malt, there also hung a baseball uniform. It was probably the locker of a student in PV Beaches or something like that. If that was the case, then he probably asked for it back. At the time I could hear the voice of the children scuffing their way noisily in from the hallway. Among them I could make out Riga-chan and Sotoko.
おはようございますです。あらあらあら、今朝はお早いですわね、ケイチさん。
Uncannily hit that bed I was holding behind my back. Hide.
なんなんですの、その身なりは。泥だらけでしたよ。
ああ、まあちょっとすぐ着替えるから勘弁しろ。
With that said, I began taking off my clothes. Sotoko began to blush just as I expected her to.
レディーの前でお着替えなんてしつけがなってませんことよ。
着替えをじーっと見てるレディもしつけがなってないと思うぞ。男子は更衣室がないんだから諦めろ。
As Sotoko feigned disgust, she went into the hall, still blushing. Convincingly, Rika-chan continued to stare at me, preparing to
リ
change.
カちゃんもレディなら着替えを見てるのは良くないと思うぞ。
僕はレディーじゃないですからいいのです。
She deliberately pouted and looked at me with upturned eyes.
じゃあリカちゃんも今からレディだ。
レディーなら仕方ありませんです。
Rika-chan, appearing to be satisfied with being considered a lady, made her way to join Sotoko in the hallway. Just as I breathed a sign of relief, Rika-chan stopped suddenly and turned back towards me.
ケイチは野球を始めますですか？
It seems Rika-chan had noticed the bed.
ああ、ちょっとさ、体がなまってさ、ちょっと素振りでも始めようかなってな。
健康に気を使うのはとても良いことだと思いますです。
She was talking like an old lady despite her appearance. After saying that, Rika-chan started to leave again, but stopped and looked back at me once more.
そのバットなくさないでくださいねです。
It seems she already knew I took it out of someone's locker. There was no name on the locker door. I didn't know whose bed it was, but I wouldn't be borrowing it until they complained. It wouldn't be for long, just until the game storage sheet was opened. After quickly changing into the tracksuit, I checked the time. I still had plenty of time before class began, because I came so early. I took the bed in one hand and went out to the schoolyard. That was, of course, to practice my swing. I needed to make it known I would always have a bed on me, so I could practice my swing. At some point, the sunlight had become even stronger. Disregarding my classmates as they made their way to school, I took my position in the shadow of the school building. I wasn't the academic type, and I wasn't much of an athlete either. I might get muscle pain if I just suddenly started swinging. I should at least start out with some warm-up. ... I doubt anyone would think I was doing something out of the ordinary. Which was the exact opposite of my actual mental state. I gripped the bed and swung lightly, but heavily. The bed was by no means light. Okay, lightly is fine. The weight would make it a reliable weapon when I needed it to be. Of course, I could only pray that the moment I needed to use this as a weapon would never come. Just carry it around could deter attacks against me. At least that's what I hoped.
の？
Being bombarded with such a hysterical voice, I jumped.
ああ、ケイチくん、野球部だよ。野球部だよ。
It was Rena and Mia.
先に行ったって言われて驚いたけど、ケイちゃん、あんた何やってる？
見てわからないかよ。素振りだよ。甲子園だよ。別にダイエットでもいいぞ。
ダイエットってケイちゃん、そんな。
ああ、知らなかったろ。実は三段腹なんだ。もちもちでタプタプなんだぞ。
もちもちでタプタプ。
レナ、変な想像しなくていいぞ。
To distract Rena from envisioning something that vulgar, I ruffled her hair messily.
じゃあまあ、頑張って県大会を目指してちょうだいよ。おじさん応援してるわ。野球部の強い高校教えよっか。そこにいる左腕の亀田くんがすごいピッチャーなんだけどさ。頑張ってね。
Seems they've already taken me for a baseball nut. But well, if I really did make it to the championship, it would be a cinch. After all, I'd be the pitcher and catcher. I pitched the ball, then ran past that ball I just blew and changed over to being the catcher in a burst of super incredible explosive speed. I laughed dryly at the ludicrous image. Coming back to my sense, I smashed the bat against the ground.
くそ、何笑ってんだよ、俺。
I pounded the ground over and over. With each impact, the reverberation traveling through the bat stung my hands. If they smile at me like that, don't allow anyone close to me. Don't trust anyone, no matter how many times I tell myself that. If they made me smile like that, I already knew quite well that there were demons dwelling in my smiling friends. But I just couldn't believe it. Did that kind of spite personality really exist? Like how Rena confessed to the doctor, were they simply being possessed by Urashiro-sama? In other words, did a supernatural being like Urashiro-sama really exist, and was it possessing everyone to try and kill me? Yeah, that would be wonderful. If only everyone were actually my friends all along and everything was all just Urashiro-sama's fault.
前原圭一のバカ野郎。だから。
You damn fool, Keiichima. Come on now. Wait, he already said that. I yelled out, trying out all the power from the pit of my stomach, and raised the bat violently into the air.
甘えるんじゃね
As I screamed out from my mind, I beat the metal bat into the ground over and over. With every impact, my weakness was being beaten down. Smash, forget, smash. Don't be soft. Smash. Know your enemy. Smash. Like hell, I'd let them kill me. My shoulders heaving up and down from my wrecked breathing. I heard the first bell ring just as I calmed down. I I guess bad with a soon relation. Oh wait, I think it's better now. Or not? As I feel attention drained from me, I let out a deep breath. My mind was in a muddled state for much of the entire day. It didn't feel like I was awake, but it didn't feel like I was asleep either. I could say it felt especially comfortable, but I feel a kind of relief that the sanctity of the school part of my daily life had yet to be violated. How long would I have to keep on living like this? I could only grit my teeth and bear with it as this living hell slowly gnawed away.
ケイキくん、やろうやろう。部活の時間なんだよ。だよ。
The sound of Rena's voice brought me back to my sense.
ほらほら、ケイちゃん、ぼーっとしない。机を寄せて寄せて。
Everyone was moving their desks together as usual. That's right, it was happy fun club time, but I had no intention of taking part. I haphazardly stuffed the contents of my desk into my bag as I prepared to go home. It was a weak-handed gesture to avoid having to actually say I'd be going home now.
なんだよ、ケイちゃん。今日も直帰なわけ？
Mian sounded quite disappointed.
気分が乗らないんだ。しばらくほっといてくんないかな。
The tone of the words that spilled from my mouth matched Brian's disapproving glare. It felt like the air in the room had dried out. Satoko looked like she was about to say something, but perhaps dissuaded by the mood she swallowed her words and stayed silent. Nobody said a thing. I took that to mean that I could leave if I wanted. But the collective gaze of the four of them, like the tiny pins used to mount an insect in a display, held me in place. Hina was the one who cut through the heavy mood.
ケイチくん、やっぱり女の子と一緒に遊ぶのなんか嫌だったかな？
She said it in such a melancholic tone that it sent a wave of pain racing through my heart. If this pain was going to kill me, I wanted to be the soft part of me that could still feel pain. I tore at my chest, violently tearing out the pins that held me in place.
そういうわけじゃねえよ。
I'd only be hurting myself by saying anything more, so I swallowed my words. Cutting things off there, I turned away and exited the classroom. She didn't speak a word to me as I left. It was a long, dull trip back home, but I didn't lose focus. I firmly squeezed the grip of the bed, which was already soaky from the sweat. Releasing that, I wiped it down with my sleeve. If something were to happen, wouldn't it want it to be slippery? Since this morning, I became especially sensitive to the presence of cars. Even while walking, my ears pricked up and soughed out threatening sounds and presences that could be closing in. And that was why I could hear it, without a raptor of footsteps. These footsteps had matched up perfectly with mine for a while now. From what I could sense, it was just one person, but had no intention of being careless. Did they intend to follow me like that car this morning until we were in a good location to assault me? Well, it wasn't a good idea to keep walking like this. I stopped walking, looked back. The wooded path crowded with trees responded with silence as if there was nobody there to begin with. But I wouldn't be fooled. I was certain footsteps were following me. And just as I stopped, the footsteps stopped as well. Meaning the person following me wanted to keep their distance. That was without questioning proof that I was the target. I hid my breath waiting for that presence to panic and instead start moving again. The trees rustled with the sound of the wind. Higurashi also joined in the dissonant chorus trying to throw my focus into dysentery. Had 5 minutes passed, or had it been like this for a whole 30 minutes? It was so hard to breathe that I might have suffocated. It seemed I would be the first one to panic. Without a doubt, he was looking in the shade of the tree with bated breath. Then I'd make the first move. I fixed my grip on the bed. I raised it up to my shoulder to be ready to swing it at any time.
いるんだろそこに。
With all of my might, I screamed at whoever was sitting in the shade of the trees. But the presence in the shade of the didn't budge. Until the moment I found them, they had no intention of leaving the surface.
分かってんだよ。そこにいるのはよ。
I screamed out angrily at them again, but even still they didn't move at all. Then I go over there myself. Without vigilance, I approached step by step. Stepping into the tree's shadows, I saw a human figure there. The figure was curled up like a small animal.
レナ。
When she least I had found her, her expression softened. She seemed apologetic, but wasn't going to speak a word.
なんか俺に用かよ。
I would accept that silence and scream the question at her. I wouldn't.
別に
When I was in a panic with tears welling up her eyes. But it was obvious that she had been following me.
部活はどうしたんだよ。
圭一君がお休みした。
関係ないだろ。俺なんか気にしないで遊んでろよ。
だって圭一君のこと心配で。
Thinking about how I'd been acting up until now, it wasn't hard to imagine that my behavior could have been perceived as strange. Serena was concerned. At a quick glance, that's how it would seem. But I wasn't going to let my guard down that easily. Even if that was really the case, she still wouldn't have to do something like try to tell me. So she should have called out to me when I was leaving and gone out right with me. But Rina didn't do that. She kept her distance from me, matched my walking speed. On top of that, she matched the sound of her footsteps and deviously tried to hide her presence from me. Then after she released and noticed she was there, she held her breath as she tried hiding from me. Boah, ich glaube, ich nicht so allergisch komme. Das nervt mich langsam.
もうついてくんなよ。
Stop following me. Still glaring at Rena, I continued walking onwards. After I'd walked for a bit, she ignored my command and began walking again, so I yelled at her once more.
ついてくるなって言ってるだろ。
だってレナの家も同じ方向だし。
But my house in the same direction. Yeah, it is.
じゃあレナが先を歩けよ。レナが見えなくなったら俺も歩く。
Yeah, of course not. I lost this fucking kill. Das zählt 13, by the way. Allergikum. I moved out of the way and waved my bat wildly to urge her forward. So sorry, Allergikum habe ich jetzt genommen.
レナはケイイチ君と一緒に帰りたいな。
Making a pitiful expression, she meekly squeaked out the words in a voice that she knew would cut into my heart. It gated me to no end. I knew it was a lie. If you wanted to go home together, then you should have called out to me. Now you're just blurting out random lies.
ごめんなさい、ごめんなさい。
It seemed that the seething anger within me was right now over my face. Even without me saying anything, Rena had understood what I was feeling inside.
分かったならほら行けよ。
I swung the bed, urging her again toward. Rena looked back and forth between me and the bed and started walking hesitantly, then stopped again.
早く行けよ早く。
行く。そのバットやめてよ。怖いの。
Rena guarded herself by pointing at me holding the bed. Thanks. Thank you. I don't know exactly who you are. Do I know you or not? Yeah, my English is alright, as you can hear it. where it happens, right? Anyway, nice to meet you. Yorushka. It's nice that you watch higurashi gameplay. Higurashi is something everyone should play. Hina guided herself while pointing at me, holding the bed. She may have realized that I wasn't planning on using this bed for a baseball. I lowered the bed, but still guardedly opened the way for her.
行けよ。これなら文句ないだろう。
There was nothing else she could protest. She passed by me timidly so as to not set me off. As I watched her pass by, she stopped completely after having barely moved at all.
おい、立ち止まるなよ。
Then a powerful gust blew past us, barraging my face with dust. The dust got into my eyes and clouded my vision. ... Yeah, exactly. I learned a lot of Japanese in many years, by the way. Yeah, Duolingo is shit, but it's useful for learning. Yeah, Higurashi is a game that changed my life forever. That's why I'm replaying it for people who don't know it. People like you, for example. While rubbing my eyes with my left hand, I swung blindly with the bat in my right, projecting the small opening I had presented. What the fuck? But Rina didn't even try to attack during that opening. Attack me? No, she hadn't budged an inch. I could tell from the sound of her fluttering skirt in the wind. As her skirt settled, so did the silence. At that moment, the voice inside of me immediately warned me of impending danger. I was caught by surprise. The smell of the air had changed. ? Without me releasing it, the air around me suddenly felt like a calamity was about to befall me. It was like the air had suddenly become invincible concrete. Like Rena and I were locked in this place. Rena didn't move an inch. As unable to move, I stared at her back. Rena was the first to break the silence. Instantly, she altered her stance. I felt like I had just witnessed her shift from Rena into that other person who looks like Rena. But the voice was one I knew well, which filled me with a kind of bewildering pity. Curiously, I felt relief upon hearing that pitiful voice.
聞いてもいい？
Too shy to even turn around, Rena squeezed her voice out of desperately. desperately as she trembled.
なんだよ。
どうしてバットなんか持ってるのかな
The question Rena asked was by no means
俺
unexpected.
が何を持ってたっていいだろ。
でも昨日まで持ってなかったしどうして突然
別に突然でもいいだろ。俺がバットを持ってるとおかしいかよ。
だって圭一君野球とかしない人だったらおかしいよ
I couldn't tell what kind of answer she was looking for, and I was getting tired of answering her.
突然野球がしたくなったんだよ。それじゃおかしいか？
おかしいよ
Oh, wait. Yeah, that's right. I also have multiple sclerosis. I don't know if you know that ataxia form. Tetsuya kills off Irena and he watches too, by the way. So yeah, thanks to this I'm still awake and sleep is very weird in my case. But I'm glad you're here so you can watch me play this game. I'm pretty surprised that someone is watching this. So I continue. I hope you enjoy. She answered instantly and it annoyed me slightly.
突然野球がしたくなった。素振りがしたくなったからバットを持ち歩いてる。それのどこが変なんだよ。
変おかしい絶対なんで圭一君
ぶつくさとうるせえやつだな。俺がスポーツに目覚めるのがそんなに変かよ。
I tried to sound a bit more threatening to end the conversation. Until my suspicion about Rena were cleared, I had no obligations to answer her questions.
ごめんねそんなに怒らないで
Rena still didn't turn around and spat out words of apology, one after the next.
最後に一個だけ教えて
これ以上話す気も教える気もねえよ。早く行けよ。
I tried loudly at her, causing her to flinch like she had been struck. Seeing her in such a pathetic state closed my heart to edge so surely. How do you say this? Oh, whatever. But even fool she was afraid, she stubbornly kept herself from moving. I'm happy if you can laugh at my stupid English stuff. 楽しいね。Yeah, that's true. That's just a word I never in English before, so I'm just wondering how to say it. And because I'm not sure if I say it correctly, I say stuff like, I don't know how to speak it. But later on, after I did this play, I researched how to speak it correctly so I can do it better next time. Yeah, there we go. Before I was able to threaten her again, Rena asked her a final question.
なんでバットまで同じなの
What did she mean by the bat was the same? I had no idea what she was talking about.
お前何言ってんだ。
だからなんでバットまで同じなのかなって
何を言ってんだか全然わかんねえよ。もっとはっきり言え。
Even still, Rena didn't turn around. After inhaling deeply, she screamed.
だからどうしてバットまでサトシ君と同じ
サトシってえ
For a brief moment. By Satoshi did not mean the student who transferred out last year? No, that couldn't be. Reina had tried to cover it up by saying he transferred, but Uishi-san told me quite clearly that he was missing. He was the student who sat at my seat. Up until last year, he was believed to have been demoted away by Ueshiya-sama's curse. I didn't know the details about his disappearance. The aunt he lived with was killed the night of the Watanagashi by a drug addict, and not long after that he suddenly vanished and was now missing. That Satoshi and I were what? My gaze fell to the bed in my hands. Could it be Satoshi Osho? It was a bit difficult to see, but that was what was right on the tip. Just release the camp stuck. So, now I should work again. I'm sorry.
これサトシのバットだったんだな。誰も使ってなかったんでちょっと借りたんだよ。いいだろそれくらい。
そんなことじゃないの。
The way Irina said that made it seem like this bat was something that should never be touched. Like it was some sort of offering at the shrine or memento of the decays. I could only stand there perplexed and unable to respond. Ina continued speaking without waiting for a reply.
サトシ君の時とどうしてそんなにまで同じなの？
Ina was talking about more than just the bed belonging to Satoshi.
サトシ君もそうだった。野球チームには入ってたけど、本当は野球なんか好きじゃない人だったのに。
それが俺とどう関係が？
サトシ君もある日突然バットを持ち歩き始めたの。チームに入ってただけでスポーツなんかしない人だったのに。
What about it? I closed my mouth before I could say that out loud. Listen carefully, Keiichi. Ina is trying to tell us something important.
サトシ君もね、ある日突然一人で登校するようになったの。ケイチ君みたいに。
The camera stuck again. Yeah, I'm sorry if it's still doing this. Can't fix it. Not sure why this is happening. I'm sorry. It's just happening. Can't fix it. Next time, maybe. Is it still stuck? I think it is. I hope it's not animals anyway.
そしてね、ある日突然素振りの練習を始めたの。 みたいに。
Yeah, never mind. I don't know why this is happening. I tried to fix it, but apparently it's not gonna help. So whatever. I'm sorry. Well, Manager is not here, so he can fix it, and I can't anyway.
ケイチ君みたいに。
Fucked up. Well, I hope it's fixed now. If not, I tried.
そしてね、ある日突然。
Then one day, suddenly what? Rena had spoiled her words. Rena's sudden silence brought a hush back to the surrounding area. It was then that I could finally guess the content of the entire conversation. She was saying my chain of actions was exactly the same as Satoshi's. What was the meaning of this? Up until just now, I'd forgotten all about Satoshi. I had never paid much thought to him in the first place. Not only that, I didn't even know anything of what he'd done. My actions today should have been my own creation after the planning I had done. But they had been the exact same as Satoshi's. And Satoshi, no more importantly, Satoshi and I acted the same, then there was really good possibility that what happened after would be the same.
レナ、ある日突然、サトシはどうしたんだよ。
Reina knew. She knew what became of Satoshi. No, forget about what happened to a guy in the past. Reina knew what was going to happen to me.
答えろよ、レナ。サトシはどうしたんだよ。
With that, I grabbed Reina's shoulder violently and forcibly turned her around to face me. As I faced her, I felt the joy travel through my entire body.
言ったよね、ケイチ君。
It was that person that I didn't know. At least it definitely wasn't the Reina Ryugu I'd been talking to up until now. The voice just now didn't have a trace of the trampling emotion that it had before. The amount of regret I felt for turning her around so carelessly was unsurpassed. With gaze that pierced like a cold needle, the smile on her face was invoked. An image of having been carved out by a knife. Chills went down my spine and I froze under a layer of rime. Both of Rena's eyes pierced through mine, leaving me unable to look away. As if to remind me of the fear from the time before, Rena brought her face close to mine, so close that I could feel her breathe. I hope it's better now. I think it fixed it. Her face had filled my entire field of vision. Then her sharply shaped lips grew even sharper like me, like the curve of the crescent moon. She grinned.
言ったよね、圭一くん。
After a short pause, Rena repeated the same words
サトシ
again.
くんはね、転校しちゃったの。
Transit meaning what? What Rena mean must have been some new definition of transit that I was previously not aware of. My throat and lips dried up. I could even acknowledge what I had just heard. All I could do was swallow down my own saliva. It would seem that Rena saw that as a nod. She pulled her gaze back and spryly stepped back 2-3 paces. As she did, my legs gave out and I fell to my knees perfectly. Rena and me on my knees underneath her emotionless smile. That had to be a very odd sight indeed. Seeing me in that pathetic state, she neither scoffed at me nor held out her hand. But I could neither stand nor escape with her gaze shooting through my eyes. Fucked up. There was undoubtedly a metal bed in my head. But right now it was useless to me. I was like a fly carved in a web. Heavy sweat beaded all over my body. I could feel it dripping from my skin.
しないよね、圭一くんは。
Hina finally released me from that cage of time after what felt like an eternity. What the fuck? But her question that was missing something important and was incredibly good. Once again I swallowed hard, touching her own.
何をだよ。
What did she not want me to do? I love Genshin Impact, for example, and I also love Illusion Connect. But if you're in visual novels, just tell me that, and I tell you my favorite visual novels as well. Yeah, okay, this is enough for now. I really did play a long time today, so I hope you enjoyed. And hey, there was a person who watched it. I'm very happy about this. Because I didn't expect it. I really hope you enjoyed it. I will probably continue streaming tomorrow. Because I want everyone to know this game. There you go. What's it supposed to mean? Hey, my favorite visual novel is the Higurashi Umineko. Anything Steins geht. Nikopara. Cross Party, that's all my favorite games in general. And Mad Father. Ivy, The Witch House, all that. Alright, yeah, I need to change this because I'm not doing Duolingo right now, but I can if you want. Wait a second, I'm gonna do this too.
Keyboard 1月アーティスト軽い咳1月軽い
Yeah, because I typed wrong in the stuff.
ここの冬は暗くないです。ここの冬は暗くないです。
Ich habe keine Ahnung, das stimmt. I don't know if that's right. Yeah.
スケート。ブラジルの1月は寒いですか？
There you go, finally.
イギリスは暗い。1月の出た。
Yay.
カナダの冬はとても暗いです。
Well, it's success.
東京の冬は暗くないあまりです。ニューヨーク暗いです。おいしい鍋。おいしい鍋。スケート。中山さん、スケートは好きですか？鍋、電池、インチ、娘、夜。フィリピンの12月は暗くないです。スケートは人気のスポーツです。
1月のブラジルは暗くないです。
Oder ich halt nicht so alt.
鍋
I finished this rest of streaming for now. It's already fucking late, right? I'm still waiting for manager. But he's not here, so I gotta wait till he's here.
スケート
There we go. 95%, that's not so bad. Alright, thank you for watching, alright? またね。